Hello everyone, Ojama Red here. Present to you this week's Casual Corner deck profile, Red Eyes DDD.
And hi, I'm Ojama Yellow, and I'm here to ask Ojama Red exactly why he built Red Eyes DDD. So our two criteria for Casual Corner deck profiles is 1. The total price for the main and extra decks is $120 or less, and 2. Any individual card in the deck, main or extra, must not exceed $15. So let's get into it. Ojama Red, what's the most expensive card in this deck right now?
The most expensive card in this deck right now would be the Full Force Virus. And after that, it would be the Return of the Dragon Lords.
Okay. Well, what about the extra deck?
In the extra deck is actually pretty cheap, but the most expensive card in the extra deck right now would be this card, Heart Red Dragon Archfiend Beast.
How much is that right now?
Right now, it's about $750.
What? Are people actually using it right now?
Not really. In a real game scenario, this guy is actually really hard to summon. But not with this deck, since we have a abundance of level 7 monsters, and we also have the best level 1 tuner, Lamia. She's pretty much a better glow up bulb.
Oh yeah, of course, because she could special summon herself.
Exactly.
And
she's also searchable.
Yeah, exactly. And I can tell that you can bring her back using Genghis or Alexander, because you have Swirl Slime and Necro Slime in the main deck as well, right?
Yeah, of course. It's a DDD deck after all.
Yeah, of course. So tell me about the synergy. Why do you come up with Red Eyes and DDD?
Well, so as everyone knows, Red Eyes itself is actually a very slow archetype. Recently we have the new support card like Red Eyes Fusion, Red Eyes Insight for more search power. But the best card for the archetype, Red Eyes Fusion, is also the worst card, since after you play that card, you cannot normal summon or special summon any other monsters. So it makes the deck a lot slower.
Okay. So when you play Red Eyes Fusion, that's literally the only summon you could do for the turn, right?
Right.
Okay. So what would you normally bring out using Red Eyes Fusion?
Normally you would bring out this monster. And this is actually the only Red Eyes monster I have in the extra deck.
Okay.
Only Red Eyes Fusion monster, excuse me. So the reason why I have this in the extra deck is because it's pretty much turned Red Eyes Fusion into a super Dragon Shine. So after you activate Red Eyes Fusion as material, you would send from the deck or hand to graveyard a level 7 Red Eyes monsters and a level 6 Dragon type monsters. Notice that it only say level 6, any level 6 Dragon type monsters. Which means we can send something like this, the Labradorite Dragon.
That's what I was about to ask. Why a Labradorite Dragon? Why a level 6 tuner?
Because of Return of the Red Eyes. So if I control a Red Eyes monster, after activating its effects, I can special summon once per turn from my graveyard any normal monsters.
Oh, okay.
And if you notice, like all the DD monsters, low level, so like Swirl Slime's level 2, Necro Slime's level 1, so I can use that to make level 8 or level 7 synchro easily.
I see. So about half of your extra deck, I assume, would be synchros, right?
Actually, yes. Almost half the extra decks are synchro monsters.
Yeah, because you have 3 Lamia, and you have the Labradorite Dragon as well, and you only have 1 Red Eyes Fusion.
Right.
And I can kind of see it because literally the only consistency here, Red Eyes wise, is the Black Stone of Legend and Red Eyes Insight.
Right.
And that's why you have DDD over here. So in case you don't open the Red Eyes board, you can go into the standard DDD board, right? With Siegfried?
That is right. With Siegfried and maybe a level 8 synchro monster or any rank 7.
Right, but we're not going into Crystal Wing because it's Casual Corner, right?
Exactly.
So what would you use as a substitute?
For the other
Crystal
monsters?
Wing.
Yeah, you can put out a Black Rose Moonlight Dragon. A level 7, which is very easy to get out. And to give yourself an extra layer of protection.
Yeah.
Or a Void Ogre Dragon.
Okay.
To give yourself the extra negate. Or you can even bring out the Heart Red Dragon Archfiend.
Right.
Right. So you have a lot of option there.
This is pretty flexible actually. What's the consistency like now that DDD is mixed with Red Eyes?
So one of the most common play you would do turn 1, you would activate Red Eyes Fusion, and its function pretty much change from summoning like big monsters to it being a super Dragon Shine. Because one of the things that we want to do with this deck is to set up your graveyard with a bunch of Red Eyes Black Dragons.
Right.
And then after that, we will use Return of the Red Eyes to swarm the field with Red Eyes. Not only that, you can easily bring out level 7 with the DDs. Say you bring 2 of these guys out. You can also get into Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon.
Oh, of course.
And that also helps you to swarm your field with the Red Eyes monsters.
That is true.
The reason why we want to swamp the field with the Red Eyes monster is because of Full Force Virus. They're all 2000s defense dark monsters, so it'll be perfect for Full Force Virus.
Oh yeah, huh? I see Red Eyes Black Dragon here is 2000 defense. Red Eyes Black Flare Dragon. Even Dragon King Pendragon has 2400
exactly
defense, so it's a viable Full Force Virus target.
And also notice their level. They're also level 7, correct? Yeah, this is the second reason why I would put DD with Red Eyes. Because they share a lot of similarities. DD can bring out a level 7 dark monster fairly easily. Like from the extra deck, we have Oracle King Dark, which can be brought out very easily with Swirl Slime plus any DD monsters.
Yes.
And there's also Pendragon, which is a searchable level 7 that you can easily summon using Swirl Slime. And this guy's second function also kind of de-breaks your hand.
Right.
Say you open, like some Red Eyes monster in your hand, and you want to send them to the graveyards. So with Pendragon, you can actually activate its effect by sending a Dragon monster and a Fiend monster from your hand or your side of field to the graveyard to special summon himself.
Yeah, I was about to point that out. That's very convenient.
Right.
Because it says a dragon and a fiend, and all the DDs happen to be fiends, and well, Red Eyes obviously happens to all be dragons.
Exactly.
So, let's see. What popular decks are out there right now that Full Force can take advantage of?
Well, you can pretty much...
Besides Zodiac, obviously.
Right.
But what are other decks out there that people like playing on a casual basis?
On a casual basis, you would see most people play Quick Draw Synchron.
Oh yeah, of course.
Right, Synchron deck, any like Synchro Spam deck, you can pretty much eradicate with Full Force Virus because they relies on the extra deck monster to bring out any sort of power. So most of their main deck monsters are actually very weak.
That's a good point.
Right.
And if you think about it, if you do it to Blue Eyes, if you do it to Sage.
Like Fluffle? Fluffle?
Oh yeah, Fluffles.
Right.
It really hurts. I remember playtesting this deck against you and it really hurt me. The only monster that escaped from my Fluffles deck was Edgem Chain, and that was not pretty.
Right. And thanks to Return of the Red Eyes, you pretty much never run out of resources. Because even if your opponent try to counter that card by destroying it, you always can reborn something. Since when this card gets destroyed, you can special summon a normal monster, or actually any Red Eyes monster from your graveyards.
I was about to ask, how come you only play 1 return and 1 Call of the Haunted? Why don't you play 2 return?
Because you really don't want to open return. Reason why is that what if you don't open Red Eyes Fusion? There's really no other way to summon a Red Eyes monster. Plus, your graveyard is not. There's no Red Eyes monster in your graveyard yet. And the only way to really send normal monster to graveyard is from Red Eyes Fusion. So it's really not worth it to have 2. Plus, it's searchable with Red Eyes Insight. So 1 is enough, in my opinion.
I see. And it's also searchable with Insight.
Right.
So in a nutshell, the strategy of the deck pretty much is to bring out Meteor Black Comet Dragon, right? With Red Eyes Fusion.
That's
and
the
take
first
advantage of Full Force Virus to clear your opponent's hand and field. in order for Red Eyes to swarm, because it generally has lower attack than Blue Eyes.
Right.
And Sheena Birds. And what else are other popular
It's actually
monsters that
have really low attack, like 2400 nowadays. It's like nothing. You have to like crash into a Vanity's Fiend. That's how low this attack is.
Oh,
with
that's
2400,
true.
right? That's why Full Force Virus is actually one of their key card in this deck, just to gap, their power difference.
It's a natural fit.
Right, it's a natural fit. So
I see here you have adequate searchers. You have 3 gates, you have the 2 insights, and in addition to that, you have the draw power in the form of Allure and Sacred Sword. So how's the Sacred Sword helping out?
well, as you can see, we have an abundance of level 7 monster. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 targets.
So it also helps you dump Red Eyes into the grave, right?
Actually, Sacred
No, actually
Sword,
it banishes.
right, it banishes.
Yeah.
But since you have 4 red eyes, right, you really doesn't care. Sometimes when a red eyes monster end up in your hand, and you have no other way to use it, Sacred Sword might save the day and give you an extra card.
I see.
And there's also a searchable level 7 right here, being the King Pendragon.
Oh, that's true.
Right.
So it does add as a substitute.
So it does add more consistency to this deck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's take a look at your extra deck. Let's lay
Sure.
them out here. So, yeah, let's start with the fusions first.
So
Because
for,
the primary combo relies on Red Eyes Fusion after all.
right, so the fusion, I have 1 Meteor Black Comic Dragon.
Yes.
So as I mentioned before, the first the main play would be first turn. You really want to activate that Red Eyes Fusion. You pretty much use this card effect to set up at least 3 Red Eyes monster in your graveyards. So you use insights to dump 1, search Red Eyes Fusion. Red Eyes Fusion, send another one. Use this effect to send a 3rd one, and then from that point on, your graveyard is actually pretty full, pretty set up. So that's actually the only Red Eyes Fusion target that I have.
Okay.
So for the DDD side, I play 2 Genghis.
Of course.
The reason why I play 2 Genghis is because since I play the green slime, red slime plus Lamia, if I open all 3 of them and I have 2 Genghis in the extra deck, I can actually do their normal DDD play. So I play 2 dark. Because they're really good, the 2 dark, because they're level 7. So I just most of the time I make 2 of them, deal as much damage as possible, and I use them to make Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon.
In order to swarm and push.
Right. So it limits what your opponent can do next turn, and you can also swarm. And I also play 1 DDD Dragonbane King Beowulf. And the reason why I played this, and actually not much, is because it's cheap, right? This thing is only 50 cents.
Oh wow.
Yeah, my main deck.
Because it came in the structure deck, right?
Right, my main deck actually costs about $84. So by the time I complete my main deck, right, I only have $36 for my extra deck, and that is actually really hard. Let's see. Yeah, that's it for the
For the
fusion,
fusions.
right?
Okay. What about the synchros?
So for the synchros, I have a Gust King Alexander, which is a no-brainer because it's essential for the DDD play. Plus it's a level 7, so it's really good. And another level 7 I play is Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon.
Ah, of
So
course.
I actually test this deck against a Cosmo deck before, and this is one card that saved the day because it's pretty much negate monster effect
Exactly.
during battle phase, right? And this is one of the more expensive one, Black Rose Moonlight Dragon.
How much is it now?
It's $7,
Oh wow.
right? And even though it's so expensive, I still want to put 1 of them in there.
Because of the mandatory bounce, right?
Right. The reason why it's because I play Kaiju, right?
Yes.
So there is a sneaky trick to it. You use Kaiju to eat one of your opponent's monster, right? And then you synchro summon Black Rose Moonlight Dragon, bounce the Kaiju back, and then you can use it to eat 1 more monsters. Right? So it's a really sneaky trick that I really like to do. Let's see. So for the level 8, we have one DDD Curse King Siegfried.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a really good card. It negates one of your opponent's spell trap once per turn. Plus, it's
Right.
actually really cheap. It's 49 cents.
Mm-hmm.
So
You really can't go wrong with Siegfried. He
You really
stops a
can't.
spell or a trap.
you really can't go wrong with
Once per turn.
Siegfried. Plus, it's the reason why you play DDD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One for Ogre Dragon. There's two reasons why I play for Ogre Dragon. One is that it's being like a level 8 Dark Dragon synchro monster. I need it in order to summon a Heart Red Dragon Archfiend.
Yeah.
And the second reason is that it's good. It's another Siegfried when your hand is empty. It negates a spell or trap.
Well, how often does it happen that your hand is empty
Well,
with this deck?
Since now that I have the DDD engine in there,
Mm-hmm.
my hand is almost always empty.
Okay, so there's always a good chance
That's always a
that
good
Void
chance.
Ogre would be live.
Whenever you bring this guy out, you almost always guarantee you can use this effect. This effect is live.
Okay.
And the last one, of course, is the Heart Red Dragon Archfiend Beast. Surprisingly, very easy to make with this deck. You have Red Eyes Black Dragon plus Lamia and special summon Lamia to go into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very easy to make.
That's amazing.
Right, and its effect is really amazing too, because when you inflict damage to your opponents, you can special summon any tuner from your graveyards.
Oh,
And
wow.
That includes the Laberdrake Dragon.
Right, I was about to mention
Right.
that. That can really come in handy.
And for XZ, I only play 2 Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon.
Mm-hmm. Of course, because it has the effect to special summon a Red Eyes, and it's literally a walking chain energy.
Exactly. I would like to, include some good rank stuff in like number 11, but unfortunately I don't have the budget for it. I'm kind of overpriced.
How much is Big Eye right now?
Big Eye is $8 right now.
Oh,
The
no
cheapest
wonder.
version, yeah.
Yeah, so it wouldn't have made it.
Right.
What about Clearwing Synchro Dragon?
Playing Synchro Dragon, it went up to $5 when I checked the
ouch.
price. Right.
So there's no way it would have made it.
Exactly.
either.
I have to take out some of the cards in order to fit those in, but I'd rather have 2 of these in their extra deck.
You know what I was wondering?
Mm-hmm.
Since you use Radiant, I know that Radiant here is an alert target. And how exactly do you run him over if you don't have Moonlight Dragon to bounce him?
How do I run him over? Good question. I have Void Ogre Dragon,
Mm-hmm.
which is 3,000,
Yeah.
and I also have Pendragon. Pendragon,
okay.
second effect is like I can discard 1 card from my hand, any card,
Mm-hmm.
and destroy a spell trap card on the field,
Mm-hmm.
and after that he gained 500 attack.
Alright.
So it's very easy to run over
Radiant that way.
right?
Okay. Yeah, I didn't consider that. So, how do you like this build compared to the popular FTK build?
It's more fun because there's a lot more to do than just hoping you open the 3 card and
Mhm.
end the game.
Which is Inferno Fire Blast.
Serial spell
Mhm.
and Red Eyes Fusion.
That's it?
That's it. Yeah. So basically, what you do is like you activate Red Eyes Fusion, bring out the Meteor Black Comic Dragon,
Mhm.
burn for 1200s. After that, you activate their Inferno Fire Blast because monster got summoned from Red Eyes Fusion, right? They're treated as Red Eyes Black Dragon.
Yeah.
You burn them for 35. You activate Serial Spell, which copy Inferno Fire Black's effects. You
Mhm.
burn them for another 3500s,
Wow.
and that's game. That's pretty much
So,
it.
if you don't open those 3 cards, you literally have no play? Is that how the deck runs?
You have play, but like I say, the best card, Red Eyes Fusion, is also the worst card. So you use that card, summon this, maybe equip like a Black Metal Dragon onto it, and you have to end your turn at that point with no protection.
Mm-hmm. So in a
whatsoever.
way, this is a safer build. It's more versatile.
It's more versatile, I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, say, even if I have like Red Eyes Fusion first turn, if I open, say, Dark Contract with Gate, I can summon this, I can summon the big guy,
Mm-hmm.
still get the Surge,
Yeah.
And maybe set a red slime, set a Lamia on the field.
To set up for next turn.
Exactly, to set up for the next turn. And even if I don't have the Red Eyes Fusion, if I don't open the Red Eyes Fusion, I can still, you know, play with the DDD ways. And yeah, I'm always guaranteed to have something on the field for Full Force Virus, you know, or for Call of the Hunted.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
So, what are the most fun games that you've had playing this deck?
My most fun game was against a Cosmo deck that my friend is using, a Cosmo artifact, right? We actually grind for like 14 turns, and you know the most surprising thing that wins me the game was actually Red Eyes Black Flare Dragon.
Really? Was it the Gemini effect?
Right. So he wasn't expecting that. I just say, like, you know, he was down to 2,200 life points with like with like 3 big ships on her field.
Yeah.
And one of them was a Slip Rider.
Okay.
So I pretty much just say, like, you know, Gemini summon. And he picked up the card and look at it. It's like, what does it do? You know, it's like, oh, it burns you for like 2,400. I lost that. Right. So a lot of people actually lost. What's it called?
They underestimated.
They underestimated. No one remembers it's a fact because it's rarely used.
You know, the funny thing about that game was I remember watching it, and I remember he didn't want to pop Return of the Red Eyes. Return of the Red Eyes potentially is just as dangerous as Dark Contract with the Gate, because you plus once a turn. It's like you want, sure, if you pop it, then you get to special summon a Red Eyes, but it's better than the once per turn special summon one anyway. It's like, may as well pop it on activation.
Exactly.
Because the longer it's out, the more dangerous it becomes, just like Gate.
That's exactly how I win the grind game. It's because he chose to, kept Return of the Red Eyes on the field. So you keep trying to queue off all my Red Eyes, but they just keep coming back.
You already explained it to him too. You said once per turn, you special summon a Red Eyes. What happens if I pop it? I special summon a Red Eyes. Oh, we're not destroying that. That's what he said.
And you know what's cool is that, like, the Meteor Black Comic Dragon is actually a level 8. So you can actually bring it back with Return of the Dragon Lords.
Oh!
And when this guy gets sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target any normal monster in your graveyard and special summon it. That includes, a Red Eyes Black Flare Dragon or a Red Eyes Black Dragon.
Right.
Right.
That is actually really amazing. And I think we covered everything except, why do you have Mystical Space Typhoon if you're just gonna negate something with Void Ogre or Siegfried?
Well, I really don't know what else to put in there. Plus, my budget was pretty low at this point.
Yeah.
I actually start with a Twin Twister.
Oh,
because
yeah.
One of the main issue with the deck, anything really with high level monsters, is you have a chance to break, right?
Okay.
So what happened if you open like one of the Red Eyes Black Dragon or the Red Eyes Black Flare Dragon and you have no other way to use it to send it to the graveyards?
Yeah.
That's why at first I was thinking of a Twin Twister, but it's $15.
Ouch.
So if I put that in the deck, I have to take out a lot of cards from extra decks.
Exactly.
Right.
And it wouldn't be as functional as it is right now.
Exactly.
Seems to be pretty effective. And I think that covers everything, because I can't think of anything else to ask. Is there anything else you'd like to add about the deck?
It's fun. So
you encourage people to give it a try, right?
yeah, give it a try and let me know how it is.
Alright then. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know if you're having fun with this deck or if you have any suggestions. Also, if you want us to try out any other Casual Corner decks, let us know in the comments. And stay tuned. The fun is just getting started.